Gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen again today, and well, you can see I'm back in my desert kitchen today, and we're in the doldrums of the summer, in the hottest part of August, and it's miserable right now. And I'm always looking for a light and refreshing kind of a meal to make. And I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and I follow a bunch of people, a bunch of chefs and things, and I came across a post by Eric Ripert, of course, the famous chef from Le Bernardin, and he posted a kind of a classic, very, very simple but elegant dish of avocado and crab meat with a tomato vinaigrette around. It's about as simple can be, and that's really kind of the key to this dish, is its simplicity, and it's just simplicity in flavors, well, complex in flavors, but simplicity in presentation. And it really got me thinking, I'm going to do my sort of crass, rustic sort of version of his very elegant dish, but I'm going to do it with sardines. So, because I'm always trying to think of something fun and new to do with sardines, and I really like to blend the sardines with a lot of like classic type cookery. And I think this one really is so simple and elegant, and I thought it would be perfect for a sardine dish. So I apologize. My apologies to Eric Ripert for bastardizing his dish here, but total inspiration goes to him. Actually, it's this right here. You can see how simple it is. It's actually just crab meat and avocado in a ring mold with a tomato vinaigrette around. Very simple, but very elegant. Has a little bit of basil on top. So I'm going to do sort of a similar thing with sardines. Of course, you need like a ring mold, and you just like kind of pack your ingredients. In his case, he would put crab meat and avocado on top into the ring mold, and then let it chill so it kind of retains its shape, and then you can lift off the ring mold. Kind of a classic kind of chefy kind of thing to do, and then with the tomato vinaigrette around. So my thought was that I would use these nuri sardines in tomato sauce, and what I was going to do is I was going to drain off the liquid from this, and I was going to use that as kind of the base for my tomato vinaigrette. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then we're going to we'll get the rest of our ingredients together, and then we'll put it together. But like I said, it's super simple. Okay, so I've gathered kind of an array of different ingredients for our dressing. Of course, I'm going to use, like I said, the oil and the tomato from this can of nuri sardines. But if I want to bump up the tomato for the color a little bit, I do have some tomato paste, and I also have a little bit of harissa, which would add a nice little spiciness. So I'll probably use a little bit of both of those to kind of bump up the flavor, the volume, and the color of our vinaigrette. Also for the vinaigrette, I have some Dijon mustard, some olive oil. This is some nice local olive oil that's really tasty. Of course, salt and pepper. I have a little bit of vinegar. This is a little white wine vinegar. And that's it. It's going to be really, really simple. Oh, and I have a little bit of lemon too, which I'm going to use to put on my avocado to keep them from browning. But I'm also going to maybe squeeze a little bit into our vinaigrette. I'm not sure yet. I will open up these nuri sardines. Nuri sardines are some of the best available, so I'm always excited to crack open a can of these, and they have lots of different flavors. But this one, of course, has tomato. You can see, how pretty those are. So I guess first thing I'm going to need to do is remove sardines. See if I can carefully get these out of here. It's interesting that there's a few more. There's like 5 sardines in this particular can. Typically with the Nuris, there's like 3 large sardines. But you can see from this is a perfect example of how when you have sardines in with a tomato sauce, how it really affects the texture of the sardines and makes them a little bit softer, or actually quite a bit softer than they are in just plain olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to start with this little bit of tomato sauce that's in here. It's a tomato sauce and olive oil and all that nice sardine flavor. Okay, put that aside, and then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to add a little bit more tomato. I'll just kind of bump up the volume and the flavor of the tomato. So a little bit of the tomato paste, and then a little bit of this harissa paste, which is nice and spicy. Okay, and then to this I'm going to add some Dijon. Of course, Dijon is always important and sort of a classic vinaigrette. So I'll put a little bit of that. And then I'm going to go with just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then I'm going to remove this. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil just to get started, and then we'll add a little bit more. But I have my whisk, so I'm just going to bring this together a little bit. It's already starting to have a nice color to it, and then I'll just add some more olive oil to this. All right, you can see how this is coming together. It's sort of emulsifying like a light mayonnaise, and that's what that Dijon mustard does. It acts as an emulsifier and kind of brings the oil and the other ingredients together. So this looks really nice here. I'm going to set this into the refrigerator, and then we'll build the rest of our plate. These avocados have been in my fridge for a long time, so they're probably not going to be the best. This one's not too bad. I'm just going to cut off this brown end here, but it is a little bit on the soft side and on the dark side. Normally I would use a fresher avocado, but this is what I have today. And I think one avocado is going to be enough. Anyway, so we will just kind of dice this up just like that. Let me take out, yeah, this is, like I said, this is a little bit of an older avocado, and I would suggest using a prettier one than this. Maybe I can just remove that part right there. I won't use that little, just that little part right there. I can remove that brown spot. Yeah, that looks pretty good there. So, okay, I think I'm gonna give it a little, just a nice little squeeze of lemon to keep it, give it that nice brightness, but it's also gonna keep it from turning even more brown than it is. Okay, and then we're going to build our, let me see, so we want it to be a little bit wider and lower, Or do we want it to be a little bit small? I think I'm going to use the smaller one. So we're going to build it on this separate plate like this. And then, of course, Chef Ripert would have used, is going to be using crab meat in his dish, but we're going to use these nice nuri sardines. So I'm going to try to kind of gently kind of keep them together a little bit. Like, the other option for this is you could crush them and kind of mix them with mayonnaise, you know, which is what he does with his crab meat. He mixes a light little bit of mayonnaise and seasons it with it. But I'm going to try to kind of keep these sort of together, and then just kind of use that tomato sauce. I'm going to use some of these little parts in here. So this whole can, so we're not wasting anything. So this plate here, I'll be using 1 can of those sardines. That looks nice. And then I'm going to get a clean fork, and then I'm going to add my avocado on top of that. Okay. And then we want to gently press this into our mold. So we're using, looks like we're using, we'll use most of this or all of this. Why not? Avocado. So this is one small ripe avocado. Okay. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator as well. So this is can kind of firm up a little bit in the cold. This is a cold appetizer, so it'll be nice served cold. And that'll also give me time to clean up my mess, and we'll get ready to plate this up. Okay, so my sort of sardine tower has been sitting in the fridge for about half an hour, and then also our vinaigrette, which we can kind of breaking a little bit, but I'm going to bring it back together a little by stirring it up. Okay, and then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of our vinaigrette onto our plate. Just like this. We'll give it a little bit of a swirl. Just like that. Okay. And then our sardine tower, going to lift up with a spatula and set that right in the center of our vinaigrette, just like that. And then we just want to gently lift that. Okay. And then I thought that I would use a little bit of my green oil. You can see how I made this in another video if you scroll backwards. And then Chef Ripert topped his crab meat sort of tower with a little bit of chiffonade of basil, so I'm going to do that as well. So I have a little bit of fresh basil, and then we'll put that right on top, just like that. And there it is. That looks pretty. Like I said, my apologies to Chef Ripert for my sort of bastardized sardine version of his elegant dish, but I think this looks really nice, and I know it's going to taste really nice as well. Okay, there it is. Our very simple sardine and avocado salad with the tomato vinaigrette, which we made with the tomato and the olive oil from the sardines. I can't wait to try it. You know, all the ingredients, simple ingredients, you know, great sardines. What's going to be bad? It's going to be delicious. I know it. And the freshness from the avocados. Okay, so there's a nice bite right there with avocado and sardine. Amazing. I really like that. The freshness and the coolness, because I had it in the fridge, the coolness of that avocado with those sardines. Really nice. Maybe not as elegant as it would be with some nice lump crab meat, but this is just, you know, like I said, it's a little bit more coarse, a little bit more rustic, but I think it's really delicious in its own way. that vinaigrette is a nice complement with, the acidity from the vinegar and the lemon on the avocado. It's just really nice with this. Just really very well balanced. And of course, those nuri sardines are always top notch. Sardines are so meaty. So good. I really like this combination. I don't know what else to say. Of course, I can't take credit completely for this dish. Obviously, this is I got the inspiration from Eric Ripert. Actually, I stole the idea from him and just switched out the crab meat for the sardines. I also made the vinaigrette with the tomato from the can. He actually, when he did his recipe, he made a vinaigrette with nice fresh summer ripe tomatoes, which would be another way to do this as well. But those, like I said, those nuri sardines are nice, and they pack them with nice flavorings and ingredients. So why not use that as well? And you can really bring a lot of those flavors into this. Anyway, I hope that you try it out, whether it's my version or the original, better version. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe. That always helps us a lot. And I will see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye. Oh, I want to show you this really cool sardine bouquet that my daughter made for me to use in my sardine videos. Anyway, I don't know if you saw it in the background, so I wanted to bring it up and show you. Anyway, I'll see you next time. All right, bye-bye.